The snow around the thin birch trees is already dirty from smoke and tracked mud. Somewhere ahead, a deep engine growl rolls across the frozen ground, slow and heavy, like thunder that doesn't stop. Inside a battered Soviet T-34, the air is tight and warm, smelling of fuel, sweat, and metal. The crew can barely hear each other over the rumble of their own engine. But they don't need words right now. They already understand what the commander has seen through his narrow sight. German tanks are coming, not one, not two, 6 Panzers, moving in a careful line, searching the tree line like hunters. And in this sector, there's only one Soviet tank left to meet them.
If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content.
It's early 1943, near the outskirts of Kharkov in Ukraine. The Eastern Front doesn't feel like a front anymore. It feels like shattered villages, burned fields, and endless cold. The Red Army has been fighting non-stop, bleeding for every kilometer. The commander inside the tank is a junior officer, already hardened by months of war. He has watched German armor punch through weak lines like a hammer through glass. He has seen what happens when Soviet troops panic and scatter. The road behind him leads to supply routes, wounded men, and infantry units that don't have enough anti-tank guns. If the Germans break through here, the damage won't stop at this field. It will keep spreading. That's why he stays. His T-34 is scarred from earlier battles. The paint is scraped. The turret ring groans when it turns. The engine doesn't sound healthy. But the tank is still fast, still dangerous, and still deadly at close range. The commander keeps his voice low and controlled. The gunner shifts in his seat, an eye glued to the sight. The loader grips a 76mm shell, fingers stiff from cold, waiting for the order. The driver holds the tank just behind a small rise of earth and snow, engine idling like a living thing trying to stay quiet. The first Panzer appears between the trees, grey and steady, moving forward with confidence. The Germans aren't rushing. They spread out, scanning, expecting maybe a hidden gun, maybe nothing at all. Their commanders think the Soviets have already been crushed in this area. 6 tanks against a broken enemy. But the Soviet commander watches them like a sniper. He isn't going to fire at the closest target. He wants the leader, the one setting the pace, the one the rest will follow. When the lead Panzer moves into the open, the commander gives a short command. The gun fires, the whole turret jumps, and smoke fills the tank for a split second. The shell slams into the German tank's side armor. It punches through. Then fire blooms from inside the Panzer like a sudden torch. The lead tank stops dead, smoke pouring from the hatches. The German formation freezes for one breath. And that's all the time the Soviet crew needs. The commander orders movement immediately. The T-34 surges forward and angles away, changing position before the Germans can pinpoint the exact spot of the first shot. The German tanks react fast. Turrets swing, engines roar louder, and return fire begins to crack across the field. A shell smashes into the snow near the Soviet tank, throwing dirt and ice into the air. Another hits a tree and splinters it like dry wood. Inside the T-34, every impact sounds like the end of the world. But none of them pierce the armor. Not yet. The Soviet gunner tracks the 2nd Panzer as it tries to line up a clean shot. The loader slams another round into the breech. The commander calls the aim adjustment like he's counting steps. The gun fires again. The 2nd Panzer jolts as the shell strikes near the turret. The turret jerks and stops moving. The tank isn't burning, but it's crippled, stunned, and forced out of the fight. 2 German tanks down. And now the Germans understand this isn't an easy push. This is an ambush with teeth. The remaining panzers spread wider, trying to surround the lone T-34. The Soviet commander feels the net forming. He knows if they get on his flank, his sloped frontal armor won't save him. He uses the ground like a shield. Small ridges, broken walls, burned-out Derevny ruins. He keeps moving, never sitting still longer than a few seconds. The tank darts forward, stops for a heartbeat, fires, then disappears behind cover again. Every time the Germans think they've locked onto him, he's already somewhere else. One panzer tries to swing left through a shallow dip, aiming for a side shot. The commander sees it early. He waits until the German tank exposes more of its side, then orders fire. The Soviet shell hits the rear engine compartment. Smoke pours out. The panzer slows, then stops completely. Flames begin licking from the vents. That makes 3. But the fight is getting tighter now. The Germans are angry, and they're pushing closer. A shell slams into the T-34's armor with a loud metallic scream. Bolts shake. The entire crew flinches. For a terrifying second, they expect fire inside the hull. But the round doesn't penetrate. The commander exhales once, and sharp and controlled, and immediately orders a hard turn. He doesn't trust luck. He moves before the next shell arrives. Through drifting smoke, another panzer appears closer than expected, creeping forward behind a burning wreck like it's using a shield. The Soviet commander lets it come closer. He knows his gun is more reliable at this range. The loader jams in another armor-piercing round. The gunner steadies the sight. The shot hits the panzer's side. A flash. Then the German tank bursts into flame. The fire reflects off the snow, turning the battlefield orange for a moment. 4 down. Now only 2 panzers remain. They stop playing safe. One fires to pin the T-34. The other moves fast, trying to get a cross-angle shot. The Soviet tank shakes as shells land close, spraying mud and ice against the hull. The commander can taste smoke in his mouth. The gunner's eye stings from the strain. The loader's arms feel like stone. But the commander's mind stays sharp. He keeps the T-34 moving, forcing the Germans to chase instead of aim. The 5th Panzer makes a mistake. It pushes too far, trying to finish the Soviet tank quickly. For a second, it exposes its side while turning. The commander doesn't hesitate. One shot, direct hit. The panzer erupts and dies in place. 5 destroyed, and the battlefield is now a graveyard of burning steel. Only one German tank remains, alone now, but still deadly. And this final panzer is careful. It stays back, firing from distance, trying to hit the T-34 where it's weakest. The Soviet commander understands what this means. The last enemy commander is smart. He isn't rushing to die like the others. He's trying to win with patience. For long seconds, it becomes a tense hunt. The T-34 moves behind smoke and wrecks, searching for the angle. The German tank fires, misses. The Soviet tank fires, misses. Engines roar. Snow and soot swirl in the wind. It feels like the whole world has narrowed down to one single question. Who blinks first? Then the Soviet commander notices fresh track marks, cutting sharply near a frozen ditch. The German Panzer is repositioning, trying to find a side shot. That movement exposes a thin slice of side armor, just a fraction, but it's enough. The commander orders a sudden stop, only for a heartbeat, so the gunner can aim cleanly. The loader slams in the next round. The gunner steadies his breath. The shot cracks out. The shell hits near the turret ring. The German tank jolts, as if punched by a giant fist. The smoke bursts out. The turret locks at a strange angle. The engine coughs, sputters, and dies. The last panzer is finished. For a moment, The Soviet crew doesn't move. They don't cheer. Their bodies are still waiting for the next impact, the next shell, the next enemy shape to rise from the smoke. But nothing comes, only the hiss of burning fuel, the crackle of fire, and the cold wind sweeping across the field. When Soviet infantry finally reach the position, they find one exhausted T-34 sitting among 6 shattered German tanks. Its armor is dented and blackened, but it still stands. The commander climbs out slowly, face streaked with soot, eyes narrowed from smoke and stress. He didn't stop the war. He didn't change the entire front alone. But for one brutal stretch of frozen ground, at one deadly hour, he stopped a breakthrough that could have swallowed hundreds of men behind him. That's how the Eastern Front works. Not always with grand speeches or perfect plans. Sometimes it comes down to one crew, in one tank, refusing to give up a single road. 6 Panzers came to hunt, and one Soviet commander stayed hidden, stayed calm, fought smart, and turned the battlefield into a burning wall the enemy could not cross.
If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more content.